Right, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It is a Blind Man's podcast, and wow, I've never been this excited or nervous in all of my life. All of the people around the world that I've spoke to with such amazing stories and life, this one's it's got me right there, man. It's got me in the heart. Some say that he has spoke to the most people on a telephone out of any radio presenter in the world. Some say real life owls are heard hooting his name around the world. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the flash and blade, the Muhammad Ali of radio, Mr. Alan Robson MBE. Good evening.
Hi Richie, how you doing?
Wow, how am I doing? This is an absolute honour, so I want to thank you for a start for this.
Dead easy, mate, no problem.
So, usually I start from the beginning, but we all know where you're from, we know where you were born. What was childhood like in Benwell in the 60s and 70s?
It was fairly rough. You had to be either an idiot and act like one, or a hard guy, so I had to act the idiot. And it was an interesting time, because the vast majority of the people in bad areas get a really bad reputation for everybody, when it's only 5 or 10% of the numpties that spoil it for everybody else. I stayed on the edge of trouble. I did cause a little bit of it, but I was always, karma being what it is, I always paid more for it than what I got out of it. So I had a dad who was handy on the belt, so if I did anything, and the policeman did on a couple of occasions have to come to the door with me, I always paid a heavy price. But I have to say, that upbringing and how hard my dad worked, because he didn't make an awful lot of money, but his work ethic was amazing. His idea was, if you work hard enough, you'll always make enough to live on, and if you're not quite as good as the people around you, you work harder than them.
Precisely.
And he passed that on to me, and it stood me in good stead across the working life that I've had.
So, first things first as well, Alan, it must be strange, you waiting to talk to someone on the telephone, but I thought I'd bring you on the way everybody gladly remembers you, And
Hey, no problem.
I've had a massive response since I've plugged this podcast for you. Quite a lot of people saying you're a legend and you've been part of their childhood, and I can gracefully remember them days hiding under the blanket with the wireless, whispering on the phone to you. So what does it feel like to know that you are in hundreds of people's hearts around the globe, not just the Northeast?
Well, it's a huge honour to even be thought about, to be honest, Richie. And I know your story very well, obviously, because you and I have been together at opposite ends of the telephone a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Met you a lot of times too, so you consider as much a friend as anyone I've got. And I just think that all I was trying to do at the very beginning was to make a name, and you think that's the important thing, to get yourself known. And the more you're in the place that I was, which was in a place of trust, where people trusted you with their most personal problems and issues, and in some cases trusted me with their literally their lives, and on a few occasions the lives of their children, it's the biggest honour that you can have. And it sometimes feels otherworldly, because and people have said the kindest things about the interactions that I've had, or the memories they've got, and everybody seems to have a memory of one call or something that we did outside, or a ghost hunt, or whatever. And it's just nice to be a nice memory, rather than not that tosser again.
And it's a beautiful thing as well, Alan, the amount of variety that you have as well, because a lot of people just think, oh, he's just a radio presenter that waffles on, but there's been many things that you've done behind the radio, and you didn't actually originally start off as a talk show radio presenter host, did you?
No, I wanted to be just playing music, because I love music, and I got my first radio break doing rock shows, and I love rock music anyway.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to play some of that, and then they had a couple of presenters, a phone-in presenter that wasn't getting any kind of decent figures. They're saying, look, we're going to cancel the talk show. And I just agreed to do the evening, 7 o'clock till 10, playing music. And they said, Alan, do you want to have a crack at it? Because you do the Friday night comedy talk show. Do you want to have a try at the whole one? And I said, not really. I just want to play me music. I'll be quite happy doing that. And they said, well, unfortunately, that's not the option. And I'd already left work by then. I'd left a really good job. I took a massive salary cut to start working on the radio, and it was a gamble. So I didn't have an option. I had to try this talk show. They told me to be nasty to everybody because that's what previous presenters had done. And if you don't like what they say, just cut them off, because people love hearing people getting cut off. And I tried that for about a month. It was about 3.5 weeks, and then I had a chat with the boss, and I said, this isn't working for me at all. It's totally against my nature. If somebody's on, the last thing I want to do is cut them off. I'll have a fight with them, that's fine. Or I'll make them have a chance to say exactly what they want to say, because you learn a lot more from people if you listen. A talk show is not about talking. No. It's about listening. And the more you listen, the more you learn. And fortunately, the people went along with me when they gave me a chance. They said, look, we'll give you a fortnight, see how it goes. After a fortnight, it was beginning to feel like we had something really special kicking. And we've just kept the pedal down on that right the way through. And some of the people that were with me from the beginning are still with me now. And I mean, that's hard to believe because that was centuries ago, so happy days.
Happy days. And you know what? A lot of people think when you talk to Alan, you're going to be a kiss-ass, blah, blah, blah. Well, do you know what? I'm not. I tell you how it is, whether you like it or lump it. And personally, Alan, I really do believe that you are one of my life inspirations. You're a hero to me on the radio, and let's have it realistically. If it wasn't for you and your fantastic show that's gone for over 4 decades, there'd be no Richie and Clary, So I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for doing that, because we grew up listening to you, and you've also created relationships, although some of your own.
Yours is a great story, and I've heard a lot of people that have either got together or they've met up or they've joined groups or they've got jobs or somebody helped me get out of a nasty relationship. There's an awful lot of subtext, you would call it, if you were writing this in a newspaper. There's Nightowls is a bit like an iceberg. The talk on the radio is the tip of it. Yeah. And then there's all that other stuff that goes on behind the scenes, live in places and all the other stuff. It's always been a massive thing. And the great thing about it was it came together by itself. It wasn't something that I planned to do. I didn't plan to create this incredible network of people that actually helped each other. And no matter how bad your situation, you could ring in and we'd find you some help of some kind. And we always did. We had literally about, I think, when I was doing some figures, and there was something like, in the 40-odd years, it was 530-odd suicidal calls.
Wow.
And we didn't lose any of them, and they're all still going. And beyond that, calls of lost children and people that had run away from home because something had happened. All of these kind of things. And the thing that I love is in the little, because I'm an anorak, I keep a note of everything. If you go down the book, you just see resolved, helped. And it's very, very rare where somebody's left hanging, where no help came in. Mm-hmm. Because we had such a huge audience, somebody was always going to say, oh, well, that person just lives down the road. I'll have a walk down and see what I can do. And that's amazing. It's just an incredible thing. Because where else? I mean, where else in the world? Not Guyana. I know I'm hugely proud of the Northeast, but where else in the world would you get a hardcore listenership bigger than any, percentage-wise, than anywhere else in Britain, where you could ring up, you need whatever it is, and there's a 90% chance you'll get it within the next 4 hours. I mean, that's, wow, really? And that's what we were fortunate enough to have. So, no, I'm very, very proud of the people that decided to give it a crack. I mean, it's very easy shooting me down, and I know a lot of people listen to me who didn't actually like me, and I don't mind that at all, because as long as they love the callers, then I'm happy. You know, as long as they love the people that's calling in.
Yeah. You see, I've always noticed that as well. In the 15 to 20 years I've listened to Nightowls, it's always been a big family, and it truly is like the angel of the north. And I've noticed there's been many a times where you've said, okay, you know, Bob down the street needs a washer or he needs a bed, and boom, within half an hour he's got it. You know. And that's the amazing part of, like you said, the Northeast, how we can all come together as a community, because we so get bastardized as this rough place where we all want to get drunk and fight and cause bother, and I don't believe it's like that, but that's my opinion. So what made you get into the television then, Alan? Because I see you've done quite a few programmes on Tiny and over America and stuff.
Well, the TV stuff, a lot of them, at first everybody says, oh yeah, well you're really doing well on radio, you'll be going into TV next.
Yep.
And to be honest, I was never hugely bothered about it until so many people on radio were coming on saying, oh, when are you going to get into TV? As if, oh, well, you've got to do that. That's the thing you've got to do next. So I went to the TV station and I said, I do a talk show. I've got more people listening to me than watch your shows. Even if just 50% of them decide they're going to check me out, you'll have a great audience. They said, well, give it a try. So I did a whole range of different. They weren't all basically talk shows, but they were all slightly different. The problem I had with them was they were low budget. No disrespect to the people who did them, because they were lovely people, but they were low budget and they had to be done in the style of Time Teas at the time.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that I would do, certainly after 10 o'clock, is far more risky. It's far more edgy. It's far more in your face. So I ended up doing fairly safe telly for a bit, and I did dozen or so series under different names. I worked on telly for years. All the while doing the radio in the evening at the same time. And then when the Time Teas talk thing came to an end, they said, do you want another series? And I said, to be honest, not really, because I was getting a kick out of, you know, breaking records on radio, and we were winning tons of awards. We were beating all of the talk shows across Britain, and on television, I was just doing safe stuff, and safe stuff's never been what I do. But, you know, we made it light and fluffy entertainment, and I just wish that I could have been on a bit later so I could do what I really do.
Push the watershed a little bit.
Well, that's kind of it, but you got to remember, local television back then, it's got no slots now, but it only had a few slots back then, and that's one of those slots was, I think it was 7 o'clock till 7:30 back in the day, which is a decent slot, but you've got to be squeaky clean at 7 o'clock is the thing. So when I got a chance to work on American TV, massive budget, I mean, each show cost $1 million a hit.
Wow.
And they were being made all over the world, and I was doing ghosty stuff on radio at the same time. To be able to take that radio show to Dracula's Castle or Haunted Plantation in New Orleans, I mean, well, who wouldn't bite the hand off? So we did some good, probably the best work I've ever done on television with the Americans. They asked me to go and live there. If I did, I couldn't do radio, and I had this massive thing called Nightowls that was absolutely exploding all over the place. And also at the same time I was doing pantomime. I was working at St James's Park. I still had a couple of little TV opportunities, so I was thinking, do I give all of that up and take a punt in America?
Nah.
Well, truth is, I've never wanted to live in America.
Nah.
I mean, visiting it, but I've never wanted to live there. I want to live in my
It's the same with
homeland.
me.
You know, I
It's the
want to
same
live
with me.
in the glory that's the north.
That's it.
So it wasn't an option. They said if I moved across, they got me an agent in Los Angeles who is Howard Stern's agent, who's used to dealing with like talk show people. So you think I'm perfectly situated. The Sci-Fi Channel wanted to sign me up as doing a show and providing voiceovers for other programs, and I'm thinking, is any of that as much fun as what I do every night when I sit in with the owls? And it wasn't really. So I came back and did more night owls.
I mean, it's clear to see that you're obsessed in radio like me, and you would have missed your creature comforts, Alan. I know you would have missed Newcastle United and your mince and dumplings and how are you the lads and, you know, all the rest of it.
There's a lot to miss, that's for sure.
So do you think they were trying to turn you into like an English Paranormal Activity type program? Is that what they were trying to do?
Well, kind of. I mean, what they wanted me to do at first was a live studio show where you talk to people about ghosts. Well, to me, I've always been more interested in the history of how people got to become ghosts in the first place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's juicier to me than kind of the end product. And I also thought, sitting in a studio talking to people in an audience just about ghosts, when I can sit on the radio for 4 hours and talk about everything. Mm-hmm. And meet pop stars and film stars and TV stars and local people that have done incredible things. I mean, that sounds a downside more exciting than here's a ghost, here's more ghosts, and then there's more ghosts, and here's some more ghosts.
Oh my goodness, definitely. It sounds much impressive.
It's just kind of a tiny part of what I do, and I was happier to do everything rather than just one thing. I
think realistically, after a while, the honeymoon period would have burnt off and you would have got bored. But so I'm going to ask you a question now, and I want you to honestly answer it. When and where is the time you've actually been on a grizzly trail or walking in the footsteps and you've thought, oh shoot, I am literally scared here, or the time you've just felt so out of comfort where you didn't want to be there at all?
There's two massive ones. They're both available for people to get a listen to on Robson's World, the website that I've got. I'm trying to put as much of everything I've done on there. Eventually it'll all be there. But there's two. One, when I did a ghostly trip to the caves of Sawney Bean, a cannibal from southern Scotland. Mm-hmm. And to get into his cave, you have to get there before the tide comes in, because the tide blocks the cave entrance.
Wow.
And I was told by the Coast Guard that I had up until 3 o'clock in the morning to get out of the cave, where I'd be able to walk out. And after 3 o'clock, it would be closed by the water. Well, Nightowls is only until 2, so I thought, I've got an hour spare, champion. However, at 1:30, when I tried to get out of the cave, and you got to remember this is live on air, at about 1:30, I came to the cave entrance, and it was completely covered with water.
You're joking.
The North Sea had come in. Now, I can't swim anywhere, so the thought that I had to climb down into the North Sea and then up on the other side where the sea was, and I can't swim, was absolutely petrifying. And I did, and anybody that knows me on hearing the result will know how absolutely petrified I was. It was heart-stopping. In a way, I thought, I'll just stay in the cave till the morning, mm-hmm. rather than do that.
Yeah.
And then you think, well, do you really want to stay in a claustrophobic cave with no light, no food, no water, no nothing? Well, you want to get out there, but you also don't want to die. So it was not pleasant. The other one was Poveglia, the plague island off Venice. There was a room that was blocked off. So I pushed the room and went into it in the pitch black, and I walked into cobwebs from head to toe, and I got completely covered in them. Spiders were crawling all over me. I was swallowing and choking on cobweb, because when I screamed, you open your mouth and suck in a whole load of insects and web. and that wasn't pleasant. There's been 2 or 3 others along the way, but they're 2 that spring to mind immediately.
So is it safe to say that the day you were stuck in the cave, you should have wore brown underpants? Is that right, Alan?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the good thing was that on getting out of the cave, at least I would have washed them at the same time.
So, I would say, out of all the places that you've done, which was your favourite? Like, if you could pinpoint one?
I don't really think that you can narrow it down as well as that. And it's just because I love history. So when I go somewhere new, where I'm learning amazing new history about a place, I get as much of a kick as I did going to the ones that had history that everybody knows. For example, everybody knows Dracula, but when you're in his castle and you're physically there, and then somebody comes up and say, but did you hear the story when he... And if it's a brand new story, I'll get a blast out of it. But that same thing could happen if I was in Bladen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, do you know during the Bladen races, did you hear about the man who said he wanted to become a ghost, so took his own life?
Wow.
I hadn't heard that story.
Nah.
What a story. So you can get a kick wherever it happens to be. I've been very lucky to be sent to some incredible places. And I mean, the one thing about the job that I've enjoyed, I think, more than much of it, is being able to have the facility to travel and see bits of the world that I would never have been able to. And a lad from Benwell, how far would you manage to get doing any other job? I've been very lucky. I've been all over the world and seen some amazing stuff. And as I say, I would never have done that if it hadn't been for people like you that supported me and made the show what it was. And that gave me opportunities to take it around the world and bring shows from all over the world back to the people that were listening.
And you see, that's the thing, Alan, is you've created a monster as well, because now you've got that many people that hold you in the heart. They literally don't want you to give up till the day you have to, you know?
Right, I know.
So
I know that.
We daily hold you, because it's one of them things, you know, you can go through Netflix or on the telly and you'll watch a series and you'll be like, oh, I want to watch the next one, and then you might get a bit bored. Nightowls is a series that we never want to end, and it's just the way it is. So,
I see the same, thank you.
No worries. I bet that you've been to places as well that you never thought you'd go to, like the Bermuda Triangle. There's one for you. And because of you, I now can't walk down the Spine Road with the same feeling.
The Spine Road's great, and we still haven't done a ghost hunt there. It has to happen. The problem is, when people have said to me, well, why don't you just do a ghost hunt on the Spine Road? Because there's been so many stories. And then I think, if I was on the Spine Road, because an awful lot of people know exactly where the Spine Road is, everybody'd be driving on the Spine Road.
Beep, 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 beep. Yep.
You know, exactly. So it would kind of defeat the object just a little bit. But one day we'll tell that story. But you're quite right. I mean, to think, I'm a bucket list kind of bloke. You know, there's certain things that I would love to do, and there's things that are on other people's bucket lists that I've inadvertently had to do. I once had to drive an airship, you know, a Zeppelin.
Yep.
They took me to Teesside Airport and said, oh, you're flying that this afternoon, and you think, whoa. Now, frankly, I thought it was interesting. It was never anything I've ever wanted to do, and if I was a balloon kind of guy, I'd have got a huge kick.
Yeah.
You find yourself having to do that because the radio station said, oh, let's send Alan, he's daft enough to do any of this malarkey. Let him slide on a zip line. Let him jump out of an aeroplane. It was always me doing the daft dumb. So let him bungee jump, you know. So
that's because they know you're from Benwell.
Stuff, and I kind of enjoyed it. But on the back of that, the stuff that was on I always wanted to go to the Caribbean. I love reggae. I always loved... The bucket list was not really even going to the Caribbean. It was to be on a lovely exotic beach in a hammock.
Wow.
That was the bucket list I do. Now, frankly, I could have done that somewhere like Whitby. You know, if I push myself. But to get somebody to say, look, you're going to present some shows where you're talking to people from all over the world, and you're going to do it live from Jamaica, Barbados, the Bahamas, you know, and I've done all of these places. Wait, who would say no to that? You know, I've been hugely lucky in some of the places that I've gone to, and you're quite right. There's no way that in any normal life I would have had the chance to do some of these. Fly into the Bermuda Triangle in the plane that goes missing the most. Who wouldn't want to give that a crack?
I think the only guy that's actually imitated that is Sir David Attenborough himself. And
there you go.
You know,
absolutely.
Mine and well, it might not be Clary's, but my dream holiday has always been Barbados. So I'll get there one day. You know.
Well, if I had to recommend any of the Caribbean islands, Barbados is the one. There's a bit of edge in Jamaica. It's a bit rough in places.
Yeah.
Sadly, in a couple of the other islands, there's the odd issue here and there. But Barbados is just mad. They've got a thing called a reggae taxi.
Wow.
You never book a taxi. You walk to the road, and then at some point you'll hear reggae coming along in a vehicle. You flag it down, you get on, you pay them a couple of dollars, and you can get off wherever you like. And it's how cool is that?
That is supersonic.
We could live with that. Can you imagine standing somewhere in the middle of Washington or in the middle of Newcastle or Sunderland, and hang on, I'm waiting for me reggae taxi. How cool would that be?
I mean, I shouldn't mind smell of reggae at times, but
there's a few places that you'll get the odd fragrance, let's put it.
I absolutely adore reggae, Alan. As you know, I was born and raised on reggae and ska with me cousin being Judge Dredd, and there's nothing more relaxing, and it's that music that makes you smile from the soul, you know, when you just sit there and you just hear it's lovely.
That's great.
It's beautiful. So the last thing I was going to mention about your world trips was I saw you do something as well that I really, really want to do now, and it's because of you. I want a zip wire over the desert.
Be real careful, because if you watch the film of it, you obviously have, at the very beginning you see me get tugged up and ready to do it, then I get to the end and look off, because you're looking down something like 4.5, 5 miles.
Yep.
That's not like 100 feet or 300 feet, it's miles. I looked out and I thought, I just can't do this. So I went right to the back again, and then I was thinking, so I'm on camera and I'm bottling doing this damn thing, so you end up doing it. But hey, the first couple of 100 feet that I was flying there, man, that wasn't funny. It was like right on the edge, and then I eventually summoned up some courage to sing my version of, if I'm really terrified, I will sing something, and I found myself singing the Spider-Man theme, but doing it Ginger Man, Ginger Man. So changing the words just a tad to stop me soiling myself. Basically, that's what that was all about.
That's fantastic. And I will fling in a recommendation historical tour for you as well. Just to put out there for the future, if you run out of ideas or you think of me, I would like you to do some sort of Viking history thing with their Holy Island, you know?
Yeah.
Because the first place they raided in England was Holy Island, so
yeah,
I think that would be cool.
Right, we can do that.
Definitely, thank you. So you've got obviously you've released I would say about 5 books the last time I checked.
Yeah, there's a few more than that, but close enough.
The Grizzly Trails one, I've seen you release that. I've seen you do Lives and Loves of a Night Owl, which is your autobiography, correct? Did you write all of that yourself and publish it, or did you get a hand to write your books?
No, I hate these books that are like ghost written, and then you put it's written by Alan Robson, then underneath in small print, plus all these other people.
Yeah.
No, I wrote them all, and autobiographies just get you into trouble.
Yeah.
And especially if you've had as many dalliances with women as I have, and so I would certainly never do that again.
No.
But bottom line is, you do what people ask you to do at the time you do them, and you think you're doing them for the best.
And then you later regret it.
I'm hoping to have another grizzly tour of Scotland coming out fairly soon, because Scotland's loaded with great stories. So fingers crossed that'll be coming soon. And we're working on, obviously, the Robson's World and the Nightowl ghost hunts that we do on a Friday now. So we got a bit to do, and I'm still on Greatest Hits Radio on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
For the time being, so we'll keep going as long as we can.
It's fantastic, and I'll send you massive apologies personally as well, Alan, for not being able to talk to you all the time. It's just, breakfast show hours now.
Absolutely.
I'm up
Life gets in the way, man. I absolutely understand.
I still always watch you and think about you and what you do, and what you did for us. But 5:30 a.m. every morning and catch up on you.
No, absolutely. Just do your thing, man. Proud of you. Well
God
done.
bless. I want to ask you the secret. You've still got that long ginger lock all the way down your back. How do you keep this in your 60s? Come on.
I have no idea. It's getting further away from my brow, I've noticed over the years, but it's still there. And I don't know.
Just
my wife said about 3 or 4 years, well, probably about 6 years ago now. She said, "You dress in a real weird way." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She says, "Well, a shirt and a pair of jeans, is that the way you want to dress?" And I said, "Well, the way I always wanted to dress was probably a bit more like a hippie, because I always was a bit of a rocker, cheesecloth shirts, flares and boots and bikes and all that kind of thing." And she says, "Well, why don't you dress like that?" And I says, "Well, I'm into the hat thing now." She says, "Well, dress like that and put a hat on." And
exactly.
I have ever since. I'm more comfortable. I don't buy outfits to look like what you're supposed to look like anymore, and I'm quite comfy. So, happy days.
Do you not think that's the main issue in today's world, Alan, is that we all feel as if we have to look like something or fit in? Why fit in when you can stand out,
Yeah, well, there is that. I mean, when I was young and stood out, I remember getting beaten up by skinheads a lot. But I know exactly what you mean, and there's far too many people worry about what everybody else thinks. I'm in a place now where people can think what they like. I've always done my best. I've never aimed to hurt anybody. I've only ever aimed to either help or entertain, hopefully both. And I'm not going to stop anytime soon. And if people dislike that, tough potato, if they love and support it, then I'm very honoured indeed.
I was going through a really bad patch during the lockdown with me style and the way I was, and it turned out it was because of me mental health. I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2 hypermania, which is the best kind because it's like WrestleMania. What you gonna do, brother? But and my main problem was shall I have my hair like this? Shall I have my beard like this? Shall I not? Shall I wear this? Shall I wear that? And that was my main issue. And then all of a sudden, about, I'd say a couple of months ago, something in my head just went, why should you give a
Yeah, absolutely.
And now the only thing I get tossed up between is what kind of hat to stick on my head. I'm currently, as you can't see, I'm currently wearing a baseball cap with the Ashton Football Club logo on it. But in my house, I have flat caps, I have trilbies, beanies.
Absolutely.
And I'm currently going through the phase of growing my hair out now, Al, and I haven't shaved the top of it for 7 months nearly.
Wow.
So
that's new.
I'm going for the Viking look,
The bottom line is just be you, because you're
Exactly.
the best you there'll ever be.
Exactly, and that's what I love, trying to be me. But that was my point, is a lot of people, especially now with all the social media and everything, they try and be someone that other people want them to be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, right, so, just a couple of quick ones. Favourite interviews with celebrities, if you can name drop a couple.
Favourite celebs. Well, I've done everybody from Margaret Thatcher through to Freddie Mercury.
Bell's curry and rice.
It's tough to call. I enjoyed, because I've worked with Rod Stewart a couple of times.
Yeah.
To get a couple of really good, strong interviews with him.
I love
that.
Rod.
That was pretty cool, because he's solid and he's real, which is unlike a few of them. Yeah, blimey, the guys from Queen are cool. Simply Red, U2. There's any number, and yet quite often it's the ones that are just breaking through. In some cases, people that didn't make it.
Wow.
Were lovely people, and you wish that they had. You know, it's a strange thing because Bon Jovi, right at the very beginning, their first interview in Britain, I got because I helped bring them over because they didn't have a deal here at the time, and then they took off, and that was pretty cool. And James Blunt, and I know a lot of people take the mickey out of James. He's still a talent.
I think he's fantastic.
If you can remember You're Beautiful, he had no hits at all. He'd released You're Beautiful and it hadn't scored. So I kept playing it, and I said, I'm going to keep playing this until it's a hit. And I played it to death. I played it every night for something like 3.5, 4 months. So the record label realised, well, maybe we should re-release it. They re-released it. It became a massive hit. And James Blunt sent me his first school disc, which is, you know, a lovely thing to do. So, but as long as they're nice people,
it doesn't matter who they are, as long as they're good.
Lovely, decent, nice person. It's the ones that the worst one was a guy from Coronation Street. I'm not going to name him, but he was just an obnoxious little kid, and during the interview I made him sound like one, so it certainly didn't do him any favours.
I'm not going to lie to you, Alan, I always did love James Blunt. He was one of my favourite singers from back in the day, and I've got a confession to make with you as well. And I know you won't mind because we've been long-term friends, but on the breakfast show when me and Clary just so happened to play Simply Red, I'll always say at the end of the song, yes, and that is Simply Red, and Mick Hucknall is definitely Alan Robson's brother.
Yeah, that's not doing me any favours, mate, I have to say. And I've been lucky enough to have a chat with him. Once we did an interview live from some apartment in Paris overlooking like all the Parisian sites like the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe and stuff. Incredible. So he's a nice fella, can't argue. I put him on stage once at Gaydon International Stadium some years ago. So it's weird because now that I'm doing less than I've ever done, to sit back and realise just how much I've managed to, you know, push into the job that I've done, it is really quite incredible at times when you just realise how many times you've interacted with people that most folk would describe as heroes.
It's amazing, and you're the second person from the northeast now as well to say that Rod Stewart's an amazing man, because my friend Alan Clark, who obviously you know was in dire straits, he digressed how lovely Rod was as well, and I love Rod Stewart's music. My favourite song from him is actually Young Turks.
Yeah, it's a top song.
But that's fantastic. And then of course you introduced Alan Shearer to Newcastle United. We can't forget that, Alan.
Right, I'm never allowed to forget that, because every time anybody shows that photograph, everybody insists and telling, saw that picture again, Al, you with the old child. Yeah, okay. Right. It was annoying because a lot of people thought, is that the only thing he's ever done? No, I've done a few other things too.
He's done lots of things behind radio as well, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. Alan has done charities. I really strongly believe as well he was an ambassador of the guide dogs, is that right?
Yeah, for a number of years, and I was on the board of Cash for Kids for
Cash for
years,
Kids.
And a whole batch of other charities too. You do what you can. The good thing about Nightowls is if anybody needs a hand, we'll do that too. And we've raised millions over the years, millions and millions of pounds.
I'm currently, at the minute, heavily into AC/DC, Brian Johnson style. So
great.
I love it. I love Hell's Bells. I love Shook Me All Night Long, Thunderstruck, the lot.
All great.
Fantastic. I think that's practically it. Do you want to plug what you're going to do in the future? And
no, I'm all right. Just as long as people just keep an ear out, I'll be about.
Well, Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll be forever grateful to you for this. You've helped me out big time, and you've also humbled me because I haven't been able to talk to you for a while, and we've had a good catch up.
Yeah, you should never feel like that. You've done really well. If you look at all of the barriers in your life that you've overcome to get where you are, that's stunning, man. It's the stuff that they make movies of, and you deserve it. Congratulations, and keep on keeping on, man.
Thank you very much, Alan. God bless you. And you, I'll be tuned in tonight. I think Chris is wanting me to come on to plug this podcast, so...
Okay.
No worries. Thank you for your time. God bless you, and forever love you, man.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.